You know, there's always that person that doesn't like eggnog, that says, "Ew, eggnog's gross. How can you drink something that has egg in it? That's disgusting." You don't need them in your life. Get rid of them, stick with me, let's make some eggnog. Hey everybody, it's Eric here, the Drink Idiot, and we are making eggnog. This is a great holiday drink. Actually, it's a great anytime drink. However, it really ramps up in popularity around Christmas time, and rightfully so. It's a great drink. However, a lot of people are used to drinking these sugary, non-alcoholic versions, and I assure you, this is definitely not that. Keep the kids away from this stuff, because it has a kick to it, although it is just delicious. The eggnog version that I'm making today actually comes from the book How to Mix Drinks, a Bon Vivant's Guide. That is from Jerry Thomas back in the mid-1800s. I'm not using the exact recipe. I'm stepping it down a little notch because, let me tell you something, the original would floor you after just a couple. This version is a little more step back and maybe a little more mild. You don't have to worry about Grandma, doing a header into the Christmas tree over one of these things. Before I get started, I do want to mention a couple little safety tips here. Using raw egg in this. Some people are a little leery about using raw egg in anything, and rightfully so. However, a few little safety tips if you're worried about salmonella, poisoning, or anything like that. A good idea, a good practice, is to rinse this in some lukewarm, warm, soapy water. Rinse it off real nice and pat it dry, because most of your salmonella is going to be on the shell of the egg. So if you clean that off and kill any kind of germs that are on the shell, you're going to really reduce any chance of contracting any kind of illness from a raw egg. Also, having alcohol in there is going to do you a lot of good as well to keep your risk down. The alcohol is going to kill any kind of germs that are in there. Also, if you're really, really scared and you want to use pasteurized, you can do that. Also, another way you can reduce your risk is to use, cage-free, free-range. Studies show that free-range chickens do actually have a lower risk of salmonella poisoning. So that is your little safety tip for the day. Now, enough of that. Let's get all Christmassy. Let's start making the eggnog. All right. Awesome. Knocking stuff over. Haven't even had anything to drink yet, so we should be in for an exciting one. We're going to start off with the egg. One main reason I like to start with the egg is because if I get some shell in there, I can get it out, or if I crack a lot of shell in there, it's at least, not ruining all my alcohol. But it's going to be one egg, and use a large or smaller. Don't go with jumbo eggs. When they made these recipes back in the 1800s, eggs weren't that big, which makes you wonder what was going on with chickens, between then and now. So once we got egg in there, we're going to add some sugar. Now, sugar is going to make this a really nice sweet drink. So if you want to add a little more than what I propose, I'm not going to judge you. What I'm going to add is 2 bar spoons, which essentially is like 2 teaspoons of sugar. Just a good white sugar will work just fine. And that's what I'm going to put in there. If you want to step that up to a full tablespoon, then that's totally on you. Just depends on how sweet you want it to be. I'm going to start with the alcohol with cognac. This is Remy Martin Fine Champagne Cognac VSOP. Look, I'm not a cognac expert. I know VSOP stands for very special on point, and that's what I'm using. If you want to use a Hennessy or something, be my guest. We're going to use 1 ounce of cognac. Now, if you want to step that up to the original recipe that Jerry Thomas used, then you can make this 2. And you can risk Grandma falling into the Christmas tree. Next up is rum. I'm using the Navy Puceirs rum just because I really like the flavor profile on this. Any dark aged rum will work just fine. There's just something about the flavor profile I like here. And I'm going to use an ounce of that as well. That is in line with Jerry Thomas. So don't bump both of them up to 2 because I'm telling you, you're going to have issues. It's going to be like National Lampoon's Holiday. It's just not going to be good. Finally, it's milk. Now, whole milk is what I'm using here. Is skim milk really milk? Or is it just like water? Yeah, I'm not sure. But regardless, we're not doing that. We're using 3 ounces of a nice whole milk. And, you know, I'm probably spilling about an ounce of it into my bar mat at this point. Which is, you know, great that I have a bar mat at this point. Final thing is going to be to add some ice to this. And we're going to give this a shake. And when I say we're going to give this a shake, I don't mean we're just going to do some limp-wristed, half-assed shake. I mean, we're going to really throttle the crap out of this thing. Because after all, there's an egg in there. Well, you should literally be tired when you're done shaking that crap. I'm not even kidding. But, oh, I'm breathing heavy. I'm not even kidding on this. When you're done, you're going to get a really nice, frothy, beautiful drink. You'll notice too, it has like a nice little collar on the top of it. This really great thickness. And that's one advantage of using a whole milk rather than like a skim, is you'll get that little tiny collar, as you can see. We're not done though. Not quite done. I like to grate a little fresh nutmeg on the top. You don't have to go crazy with it, just a little bit. And the recipe doesn't really call for it, but it's an addition that I like to add on. I like to put a little bit of freshly grated cinnamon on the top as well. And truthfully, if you try this out and you think you want a little more spice to it or something, feel free to add a little cinnamon to the mix, some nutmeg maybe, some allspice, even some ground cloves right into the shaker before you shake it. You might be happy with the results. However, this is a great base to start with. This is the eggnog recipe. It's fragrant. It just screams holidays. Dang. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. I could drink these all day. I could get really schnockered on these and, you know, look stupid on Christmas. Although, I wouldn't recommend it. If you really like this recipe and you want to see even more, you know what? I'm inviting you right now. Click down below on the subscribe button, the bell icon down there, you click on it, you'll get notified anytime I post anything new, and you know, just great stuff. At least I think it's great, and maybe you will too, but the only way to find out is to click on that subscribe button. So until next time, I want to thank you all for watching this recipe, and remember, if this idiot can do it, then so can you. Cheers.